Good afternoon and welcome to Serious Sunday. I'm your host Luke, and this is the show where I talk about video games and things. This week, in stark contrast to a lot of the gloom and doom that usually ends up at the top of my topic list, I have some awesome news to share with you this week, dear viewers. To even out the mucky karma of Nintendo once again imposing yet another boundary to access their older library of games, industry darling Blizzard Entertainment has, this week, given an enormous gift to the gaming world by making 1998's StarCraft and its Brood War expansion free on their Battle.net service. On Tuesday, April 18th, Blizzard rolled out patch 1.18 for the venerable classic game, adding the option of windowed full-screen and windowed mode to the previously full-screen only game, UTF-8 Unicode support, an updated map browser, an APM monitor, various upgrades to matchmaking and multiplayer responsiveness, modern OS compatibility tweaks, and a slightly updated UI, but the big announcement was that, yes indeed, StarCraft and Brood War, as the StarCraft Anthology collection, is now absolutely free to anyone that wants to play. Up to this last Tuesday, the StarCraft Anthology had been on sale in Battle.net's Classic section for a pretty reasonable $14.99 US. I myself had bought StarCraft many years ago during its original run on store shelves. It was basically one of the games that I played for my junior year of high school. I even remember StarCraft being very possibly my first foray into level design in games, having packaged its old campaign and level editor in with the original release. I played it for a few years, even had the odd skirmish back in my university days, but eventually I set the game down and moved on to other things. Early last year, well deep in the development of a strategy game and honestly a little out of pure nostalgia as I am wont to do, I shelled out that $15 to get a digital self-updating copy, and though my timing was a little bit off, honestly, I'm not even mad. I played through the first few levels of the Terran campaign for the first time in probably a decade, and though there are certainly some quality of life updates that have been made to more recent RTS games that I miss in StarCraft, it holds up surprisingly well. Nothing quite like relearning the old build trees to the space hillbilly twang of the SCV pilots, reliving those first encounters with the Zerg, the surprisingly engaging story of betrayal and retribution, and just experiencing a whole lot of RTS history again. If you've never experienced StarCraft and are willing to look beyond some of the idiosyncrasies of a slightly older interface and the stresses inherent in a sprite-based RTS, I absolutely recommend giving this classic a try. As someone who cut their teeth on Warcraft and StarCraft back in the day learning about the RTS genre, it has a lot to teach about asymmetrical army balancing. Having bucked the trend of equivalent troops that Warcraft had prior to its release, and going very different and unique routes with each individual race in StarCraft, it does a great job of having armies that feel significantly different in playstyle while still not having a clearly superior team. It was a hell of an accomplishment, and to this day can still, with only a small amount of tongue-in-cheek, be referred to as the national sport of South Korea. It was one of the progenitors of the esport, and home to the first MOBA, and just a damn fine game in general. For the low price of free, there's no reason, honestly, not to pick it up and give it a try. If RTSs aren't your bag, so be it, but this piece of gaming history is totally worth owning and experiencing at least once. And if you're like me and owned it on disc already, there's an opportunity to have a much more convenient way to install and play. And now you can, completely free. All you need is a Battle.net account, and to pop in through a link in the description below or through their store page under Classics, and it's yours, only the aforementioned strings attached. It's not really going anywhere, so I suppose there's no need to rush to grab it, but there's no time quite like the present. I know that this upcoming week I'll probably be getting together with a few of my old high school friends to skirmish once again. That's all for me this week. In the words of Marshal Jim Raynor, ride on. Take care.